How to start your Monday morning. Start the fire, boil the water, grind the coffee, add filter, coffee in the filter, water into filter, watch it drip, more water, watch it drip some more, fill your cup, raise your cup, and no. Leave the house and leave it up to the professionals to make the coffee. I'll stick to the conversations. Welcome to Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Brooke Allen, and what do you know? This is season 2, episode 74. And we actually have a legacy guest on today. I'm super excited about that. Ralph will be joining us at the end of the show. So I'm hoping that everyone had a great holiday weekend. You kind of know when your kids are getting older when you boil the eggs to die, and then we just forget about them. They didn't even mention it. And I was like, don't you guys want to dye Easter eggs? And they're like, oh yeah, no, we're too tired for that. We just want to go watch Netflix. And I'm like, oh, okay, so we're doing that, huh? And then, of course, last night, I don't know what the deal was. I don't think it was a full moon, but I was sleep deprived. I could not sleep last night. I slept for about 35 minutes, which means this morning was a challenge because I forgot to feed the dog. I forgot my note cards. I had to go home and get them. I went to the ATM real quick before the show. It wasn't working. I parked in the parking structure a different way, and I got all confused. So I used to dread Mondays because of the Sunday scaries. And today is the first Monday I was like, what is going on? So thanks for being with us, of course. Terry Bean is here, and this is the guy who is got 21,000 followers on LinkedIn. I love to tease him about this. Of course, you are a keynote speaker, a coach, corporate, TEDx, Detroit, all of that good stuff. But usually when we talk about spiraling, like I just was with the intro, right? Spiraling, a big spiral. Usually we're talking about going down. But lately, you've been talking about spiraling up.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's interesting because any one of those things that you mentioned, when we allow it to, can spiral us straight out of control, right? And so the spiral does all kinds of interesting things. But when I look at it, I think of it as a growth spiral. And the challenge with a spiral is that we end up going back and seeing the same things over and over again. But hopefully, with new wisdom, new insights, we can see them in a different way and allow that to elevate us to the next layer.
So it's interesting because, automatically, you kind of twist it around, right?
Absolutely. I like what you did there. We'll take this a whole analogy for a spin and see what happens.
Exactly. So and what I love about this too is that Saturday, you did a webinar, and my favorite time, 11:11.
Yes.
I don't even know how long I've been doing it, but every time at 11:11, it's like, make a wish, say a prayer, make a wish.
Yes.
I tell the kids that too. And they're like, it's 11:11, stop.
And you see it, right?
Yeah.
Repeatedly,
Yes.
over and over. And it's a very magical angel number that brings in like power and leadership. And like, it's a great time to manifest the things we want in our lives. And so this growth spiral journey that I'm on and that I'm inviting other people to join me for is about that. How do we go from where we are today to where we actually want to be? And the majority of people I talk to have really big dreams, but not entirely clear on the steps and the actions to take. So the growth journey spirals an invitation not to listen to me, but to listen to you.
Because we all love listening to you.
You should. Let's be honest. It is a good plan. Try Bean if you want to go somewhere. It's more than a clever name.
He's very modest and humble as well.
Clearly. My emails sign off with your humble guide.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm like, okay, who's that?
Yeah. Or now you're connected.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay. So so I do understand the spiraling up, but sometimes you take the spiral up 2 steps and you spiral down 1. Do you address that?
We will in the actual course. We didn't really talk about it in the webinar, but that's the spiral in full effect, right? We always talk about 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 3 steps back. And the challenge for most people is we think that growth is linear, that it's a straight line. And what I've come to realize through observation, study, and way too many conversations, some of
Were they
which
caffeinated?
were caffeinated, yeah, some of which were, it's not how it works at all. It's we circle,
Hmm.
right? And sometimes we circle up, sometimes we circle down, sometimes we circle totally sideways. But ultimately, we always have to come back to that center piece. And hopefully, we come back at it new, refreshed, a little changed, and continue that journey.
Okay, so do you believe the whole idea of if you keep making the same mistake, you're going to keep going back to that spot?
Yeah, because you don't get out of that pattern until you actually learned what that pattern was trying to teach you.
How often does that happen?
It depends on how quick of a learner we are. Yeah. Listen, man, I've seen the same stuff dozens of times. But
Personally.
yeah,
Okay.
for me,
For you.
internal,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I was talking to somebody the other day and I was like, it's weird that I'm doing this growth journey and putting this all together because in 2010, I opened this course called Magnetic You to
Hmm.
teach people how to attract the things they wanted. And then in like 2014, I had a whole different course plan. In 2022, I started this thought leadership program,
Hmm.
right? And I keep coming back to these things with different insights, different lessons, and different learnings for folks. But I don't know that I've ever spent as much time, effort, and energy building one out as I did this. I like this is such a calling for me right now. I'm
Really?
thrilled. Oh yeah.
Okay, so how do people? So Saturday was just kind of a preview,
Yeah.
right? And then this is a course for how long? Because
This
I didn't read the email.
yeah. Well, there was two of them,
Oh,
so
wow.
that's probably why. You're like, oh, you're overwhelming my inbox. Stop it. The course is a 14-week journey. If anyone wants to go see the webinar, they just go to trybean, TRYBEAN
Hmm.
.com/spiral connect.
Okay.
In there, you give me your email address and you'll be able to access the whole video, the download
Because
the
this is
workbook.
something you can do on your own time,
a hundred
right? So
percent
that's important to know.
Yeah. And then if you wanted to see what the actual journey looks like, it's linked on that page, but spiral or trybean.com/spiral journey. And that's the sales page. I don't really do sales. I do invitations,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
You want to join me and grow and do cool things,
Hmm.
then please do.
Right.
And if you don't, enjoy. I'm like,
Like,
listen,
I'm good.
yeah, find as
I'm
much
good.
joy in life. That's what it's about.
Okay, so what stresses you out?
What stresses me out? I have 3 dogs, and I find that their over need for all the things all
Hmm.
the time, can cause me some stress.
Interesting you said that because I forgot to feed my dog. I don't know how I forgot to feed him this morning, but
He's wondering the same
yeah,
thing.
he is for sure. But he like wakes me up every night at 2 o'clock in the morning. I just happen to be up in the middle of the night because I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
So I walked him outside and then he's looking at me like he wants to go for a walk. And I'm like, it's pitch black.
It's
I'm
like
not doing that. And so I went back to bed. Well, I brought him in because it was raining.
yeah.
But they are needy, aren't they?
They're nonstop. My God. So the dogs, I'm kidding. The dogs are
Oh, no,
cool,
I love
but it is too many. It is, listen, you should not be outnumbered by kids
them.
or dogs. And, as a single parent, maybe you know what I'm talking
I
about.
do know what you're
You
talking
do
about.
like a
Yes.
single parent of
Yes,
twins.
of twins. Yes. So 13. And, it's very interesting because this weekend they wanted to go to church on Good Friday. So Greg took them to church on Good Friday. And then we went yesterday. And it's so funny because now they're like, well, are we going on Wednesday? Are we, how often can we go to church? I'm like, I don't know that there's that many services. But it's very interesting that here they are 13
Yeah.
and they just are so drawn, and then they were quizzing each other on Bible verses. And I mean,
Wow.
it was, I'm pretty proud of that actually,
That's very cool.
because they can sit at the table and they can either talk religion or politics, which is something I forbid. So I go in the other room.
Right, right.
It's like,
Can you imagine having those conversations on the couch?
yeah, I
Right?
couldn't.
Yeah.
I could not, and that will never happen.
Yeah, fair enough.
That will never ever happen. But that whole idea of 13-year-olds and 2 of them, I'm an only child. So when
Yes.
they do the whole, blah, I literally walk in the other room and I'm like, just deal, because I don't even know what's happening right
Because,
now.
yeah, you don't know how to
No,
relate to it because it wasn't your
no, it
experience.
wasn't my deal. So,
I have the best of both worlds. I have 3 siblings,
mhm.
but they're all half siblings. And so I was raised as an only child, but I have like a whole
Oh,
big
you have,
family
oh,
simultaneoally.
oh, see, so like,
So I get it.
so for your birthdays, you get family.
That's, that's right. And that's about the only time I want to hear from them. No, I'm
Exactly, right?
kidding. No.
You're like, unless you're spiraling, then I want you to
That's
come,
right.
right?
That's right. There's
You're
no
like,
chance
you're like,
they're
go to my
watching this.
website. Go to
Click
my
this
web.
link
Yes,
and
click
please,
this
for the
link.
love of God, read my emails.
Yes, I'll do that as soon as we're done. As soon as we're done. Okay, so what is one thing that is making you happy today?
I did the work, right? And
Hmm.
it's an interesting piece when you know that you've put your heart and soul into something and you can look at it, forget the results, forget how many people saw it or showed up or what the algorithm did.
Hmm.
But if you can do something where you have a sense of self satisfaction, right? It sounds like a helicopter swirling around, but it
Hmm.
was just me patting myself on the back. It really, that was it.
So, okay, let's talk about that for a minute, because I know throughout my life that I have thought, oh, I'm good enough to get by.
Mhm.
I'm good enough to get this done, and it won't be mediocre. And I thrive on deadlines, actually, just because that's kind of the
That's the
broadcasting,
push.
journalism, and all that thing that happens. But it's been very interesting, because since I started this, it has been like, oh no, we are not phoning it in,
That's it.
right? I mean, you just can't.
That's it. And it's amazing. I live by a it's good enough philosophy
Hmm.
for years because I know when I show up, it has the impact I'm looking for. And
Right.
I have faith. I trust that the right words will fall out of my face in the right order at the right time.
Right.
I don't worry about any of that stuff.
Hmm.
But I recently learned that maybe good enough should elevate to better than good. And it's a different switch, it's a different outlook. I don't believe in perfection
Hmm.
because, like, the idea of perfection, I don't know if it's your
I was going to say,
perfection
everyone has
or
a
your
different
perfection or
version, right?
yours, right?
Yeah.
And so that makes it really tough. And so getting in there and but making it better than good has been um well, it takes a lot longer. It's kind of painful,
It
but
is. It is painful.
it
It
seems
leads
to
to
be worth
sleepless
it.
nights.
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
So I guess that's self-sabotage in a way.
It is. It is. When we're reliant on just our base abilities and not showing up as powerfully as we can,
Hmm.
there like you'll attract the right some people at good enough,
Hmm.
but that better than good is where you get to the right people and the things that you actually want.
Okay, so let's talk about, you always say, envision it, manifest it.
Yeah,
And I mean, you're a firm believer in that.
100%.
What you put out attracts, right? What's the right term?
No, you're a co-creator of this life. Right? And the challenge for most of us is we haven't sat down, gotten quiet enough to learn and understand what it is we want to co create. But once we find that clarity, or as I call it, our true north,
Hmm.
once we've hit that true north, things start to line up, show up that are going to move us toward it. What happens for most of us, we want this and this and this and this, and we've got 360 degrees of directions we're going.
Hmm.
And I don't care if we call it the universe or God or source energy or the great spirit, whatever, it doesn't know what to give you. So it starts handing you little breadcrumbs of these things, but you've shifted your awareness and your attention to this. Now you get a little breadcrumb over here. Now you get a little breadcrumb,
Interesting.
right? But when it's one thing that you're mapped to, though, now you get like a slice of bread. Now you get a loaf of bread.
How about a sandwich? I'm
N-
hungry.
I saw bagels.
I know. They're, yeah.
I saw bagels. Maybe I should have used the bagel
Yes,
analogy,
maybe,
right?
please. Or a blueberry muffin.
No, oh my God, I saw the
I know, right?
blueberry
Yeah, try
muffin.
them, right?
Yeah, I would have eaten one, but I knew I'd
You
have
knew
a
you were gonna.
blueberry in the
Yes,
teeth, and
exactly.
that's like I don't need any help there.
So, in full transparency, I have called you, not many times, but I've called you a couple times saying, I've lost my true north.
Yes.
Because you have all these brilliant ideas, at least brilliant to me. You have
You're
all
very
these
kind.
ideas, and you, like you said, you're grabbing at them, and you want to do all of it, but it is so hard to hone it in before you move on to the next thing.
Yes.
So you have to kind of screech to a halt, focus until you get that, and then move on.
One of the lessons in the spiral journey is about trusting our intuition,
Mhm.
right? It's literally, there are three main things in the core of this journey. It's our mindset. We have to believe that we can be the person we set out to be. And most of us fall short of that,
Mhm.
right? It is self sabotage, you mentioned
Mhm.
earlier, imposter syndrome gets in the way. Like, who am I to actually do that? So those things become an issue. Identity is the third one,
Mhm.
right? It's how do we see ourselves and show up, right? And not only
So it's what we think of ourselves, not what other people think of us.
it's a little bit of both,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, because other people, I mean, they can take you down in a minute.
Or they can lift you up in a minute. How
Right.
often you talk to somebody that has you elevated on a pedestal
Not often enough.
and, and you're
Just
like, I don't know. I don't want to mess up your expectation of me just by showing up. Flipping back to that imposter syndrome,
Mhm.
right? We vacillate between these. But that third one's intuition. And what most of us don't do is hear,
Mhm.
understand, and trust our gut enough.
I see.
And so we're looking for answers externally all the time, whether it's feedback, whether it's ideas, whether it's strategy, whether it's accountability and coaching.
Mhm.
I'll throw my coaching business under the bus for a second. Um,
I thought you were going to throw the website out.
yeah, that's it. See, I'm so bad at branding. That would have been a perfect drop. But the
We'll
real,
flash on the screen.
yeah, there you go. Well, just logo.
Right up here.
The answers always come from within us if we get quiet enough to hear them. We got to ask the right questions, right? We got to
Mhm.
make sure that we're aligning to where we want to go. But it's that internal piece because if I tell you what to do,
Mhm.
you may do it, but you'll have a little bit of reluctance.
Because you told me.
Because I told you, if I guide you to the answer that comes from you, you're going to align to it and move forward with it and jump through hoops for it every single time.
It's
So
kind of like telling the
leadership lesson.
kids to clean their room and then they won't do it, right?
That's exactly it.
That is it.
That's it, right? And if you ask them what the value of having a clean room is, and they see themselves in a picture surrounded by a nice clean room,
Mhm.
they might actually say, God, I really want that. How is that going to happen? Well, I guess I got to clean the room.
Or it's, Mom.
Yeah, right. Our daughter's home. She came home
Yes.
for Easter weekend. She's 22, graduating
It's a
college
big
this
week.
week. It's a big, big week. And so she'll be home a lot. And so evidently I missed the cue when it was, Dad, I need you to get up and go vacuum my car with me and take it to the car wash in the morning.
She meant you.
Yes, she didn't really mean with me as much as go wash my car and vacuum in it, slave boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But I felt like I let her down. And I was
Hmm.
talking to my wife while I was getting in the shower to come here, and I
Mhm.
said, I feel like I let our kid down. She's like, don't fall for it. You let her down because you didn't go pay for the car wash and do the work. Right. And I was like,
She's got your
oh,
number.
and I did. I like the guilt pangs were
Oh,
incredible
yes.
this morning.
Yeah. So that's why you were late.
Yeah, let's pretend.
Okay.
Let's
Let's,
pretend it's not a
yes.
chronic issue for me. Let's pretend it was because of that conversation.
Okay. All right.
I like
Excellent.
that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You are sticking up here because we have, okay, in full transparency,
Tell me.
On the Wings of Angels, that gala is
Whoa.
coming up on Saturday.
It is. I
Yes.
wore purple
You
for
did. You
that
wore
very
purple.
reason.
Exactly. JoJo is here. She will not be on, but Natalie is here.
Yay.
So Natalie is going to be coming up in just a minute. But first, April is Autism Awareness Month. And of course, we had the chance to sit down with Freddie the Pizza Man. I don't know if you've ever had his pizza in Melvindale.
I don't know.
Okay,
In Melvindale.
yes,
Okay,
it is.
that explains a lot.
Make the trek.
Yeah,
Make the trek.
worth it.
David Portnoy, yes, it was.
I've heard, and it
Yes.
wasn't because of Portnoy.
It was not, no.
Oh.
But he does, so what Freddie does is he builds sensory rooms
Okay.
in schools throughout Michigan, and it has been an amazing feat. And we went to the restaurant and sat down with him. Let's watch. Okay, so I'm hanging out with Freddie the Pizza Man, and Freddie, not only do you equip sensory rooms all over the state of Michigan, you also have something special you do for teachers. What is that?
Yeah, the Freddie the Pizza Man ASD Teacher of the Year Award. We're 2025, so we're on our 7th annual ASD Teacher. Obviously, ASD teachers are very special to us, so we want to honor them. And what we do is we go on, we take the social media, and you can find Freddie the Pizza Man on all social media. It's very simple. I just ask a parent, a fellow teacher, even the students, a teacher that's changed your life, it's touched your heart, email me. And just write me. We don't need a huge letter, just something right to the point that why they changed your life, why they're so special. Write us a little blurb. We read them all, and we nominate one probably toward September, October area when we start the new school season. And we give them a little gift, we give them a trophy, and you can go to freddythepizzaman.com or directly freddythepizzaman@gmail.com. It's FREDI, thepizzaman@gmail.com.
To nominate the special teacher in your life.
Absolutely, and it's 7th annual this year. We love it. It's
awesome.
special to us.
Okay.
And reading the letters,
I'm sure.
and real quick, reading the letters, it's great.
So I imagine you get kids that write letters too, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And honestly, it's usually parents, but it's usually a fellow teacher. And I think
That speaks volumes.
that does speak volumes. And usually when I let the wife read them, she usually tears up. And when she tears up the most,
Is when you know.
that's the one we usually know. Yeah.
You're like, get the Kleenex, honey.
Absolutely.
We've got our winner.
Bingo.
And of course, this month, if you comment on our page or even Freddie's and you tag a school, he's actually doing this for Autism Awareness Month. He calls it Autism Acceptance Month. But he will donate for 5 schools $600 worth of sensory equipment. So all you need to do is tag the school, maybe even the contact person in our comments or on Freddie's Instagram. And we will select those winners as it gets closer to the new school year, which seems far away, but it really isn't that far at all. So crazy.
Right.
Time is just flying. So Natalie is here. Hi, Natalie.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, so Natalie Kiro, you are the CMO of Austin Benefits
Yes,
and also a very good friend of JoJo
I am.
Dries. And first of all, tell me what a CMO is, because we were talking about this before.
So many
So many
acronyms.
acronyms,
Yes.
right? And it's like, what does that mean?
I think the CMO is one of the easiest acronyms,
Mhm.
Chief Marketing Officer, but I will say it's probably one of the hardest.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me why.
And I think that it's important. I think for me, my passion and my why for being a part of the Austin Benefits Group is really to showcase what a wonderful company they are and to be able to market that in a very genuine and an authentic way. And being in my position and being in my role allows me to do that. And it's really exciting.
Well, it's kind of like you believe in your product,
Absolutely.
right? And when you believe in it, then you can go out and
Absolutely.
sell it and you can just get it done.
Absolutely.
And it
Couldn't
just,
agree more.
yeah, it just kind of comes through you, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I was checking out your LinkedIn profile because that's what I do all night long before shows. I'm like, okay, who can I stalk on LinkedIn now? And then it's embarrassing, of course, because everyone can see the views, right?
I did see that.
you see
Yes.
that? So it's like, oh,
I
look,
saw it too.
You were
I
up
can
really
prove
early.
oh, like 3 a.m. It's like, oh, Brooke Allen viewed your profile 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m. Yeah, I was like, oh, they're going to see this. How can you block that on LinkedIn?
You can.
Oh, you can.
You
Oh, I knew
can.
you would know.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna have to show me that so I don't get busted
Oh
anymore.
no, it's flattery.
It's
Everybody
great,
loves
is
it.
it?
Yeah.
Don't change it. It's
Okay.
perfect.
I'm like,
I
yes.
felt very special
Aw.
at like 5 in the morning.
You're like, well, good morning, Brooke.
Whoa. There's a 5 in the morning too. Wait a second.
I mean,
What
yes.
is it doing there?
We'll teach you about time
And about
and
time management in
Time
just a
is-
little while.
time is
Yes,
weird.
exactly. Okay, so one thing that you say on your LinkedIn is that you lead with heart and you serve with purpose.
absolutely.
And I think Austin Benefits Group and you personally, you guys are the presenting sponsor
We are
for On the Wing. I could say that,
we
right?
are the proud presenting sponsors for the second annual On the Wings of Angels Gala. It's incredible. I had the privilege and the honor of being there. Yes, I had the privilege and honor of being there last year. And it was when I first joined the team at Austin Benefits
I
Group.
remember meeting you at the table.
Yes, you and I met for the first time there, and we had a lovely chat, and we
Mhm.
talked about what this year might look like, and it's been absolutely incredible. I think the first thing that is important to know is that, you know, um, I've worked with a lot of leaders in a lot of organizations in the past. And when I met Dean and Kathy Austin, the very first meeting, it was so clear to me what type of leaders they were: genuine, authentic, purposeful, servant leaders. And I thought, wow, this aligns so much with what I'm looking to do, what my next chapter looks like.
Mhm.
And when you work with leaders like that, with a company that has those shared values, you you know that the way they serve the community is the way they serve their team members. And that's the way their members serve their clients. And it's what makes us so special and why we do what we do and the impact that we have on so many companies in Michigan that we work with.
Yeah, and it's the trickle down effect, right?
Absolutely. The trifecta
Yes,
of
yeah,
service.
for sure.
Right. That
Love it.
service-minded leadership, that service-minded approach to everything that you do, right? Whether it's community, whether it's team members, whether it's clients. And it really is when it's genuine,
Mm-hmm.
when you do it from the heart, that's really where you see that juicy impact, that robust change that we need so much of.
Well, plus it's kind of rare,
It
right?
absolutely
I
is.
mean, from the corporate world, I mean, everyone has so much going on,
Yes.
and we all understand that. But at the same time, that whole being genuine
Yes.
and having the heart to serve
Absolutely.
is a big difference. I mean, it makes you want to go to work.
Absolutely. And it goes into everything that you do. You know, I boast and I rave and I praise our COO, Kathy Austin, and how she puts processes and systems together. Most of the time, companies overlook that. They don't realize that the heart that you put into the tools, the systems, the processes that your team needs to go out and serve your clients, that's servant leadership.
Right.
She's very passionate about that. She wants to make sure that every single team board member is onboarded properly, that they're trained properly, that they have all the tools to go out and have that autonomy to serve the clients in the way that they need to be served.
And to be successful.
And to be
Right?
successful.
Because that makes a difference.
The success is the consequence of
Yes.
that. I mean, ultimately,
Right, for sure.
So just being really intentional, very thoughtful, very genuine in that approach as well. And I love seeing it. It just lights me up and it makes me want to promote them even more.
You're like,
It makes other people want to hear more about
For
them,
sure.
learn more
Yes.
about them. It's
Yeah.
such an attraction
Absolutely.
piece. I
Mhm.
love that.
Absolutely.
yeah, and a husband and wife team.
Absolutely. They're
Right.
amazing.
So, and I've
Dynamic duo.
yes, right?
Yes.
Yes, for
That's
sure.
what I call them.
And they do so much good in the community,
Mhm.
and that's a big part of this as well.
Yeah. Well, they've been doing it for years. It's just now being seen because we're celebrating 25 years this year.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And last year when they brought me on board,
Mm-hmm.
they brought me on board to build a marketing department. They've built their success with little to no marketing. It's
Wow.
incredible.
Okay.
So they've been doing this for years.
Right. I was
I'm
like,
just
oh, are they a
bringing
new
it-
company?
Yeah, I'm just bringing it to light now,
Right,
where
right.
it's visible and it's actually seen. And I think that that's just a testament to how humble they are
Mhm.
and just how wonderful they are, right? That it wasn't, for Dean, he always says, it's not about us. It's about you. It's about them. It's about the community. It's about giving back. But for me, I think it's infectious. To Terry's point, it's infectious.
Mhm.
That makes me want to give more. I sit in rooms and I've had wonderful conversations with different leaders and passion. I just Brian Austin and I, one of our team members, just had a meeting with an incredible organization in Michigan. I left there even more reinforced with that purpose, that fire that just lights you up, that you just want to be able to be a part of that. And it just makes you drive it even further.
So let me ask you this. So how, throughout your career at different places, Have you felt that before?
Great question. No, honestly. And I think that's what makes this so special is when you see the other side of it, this part is just that much more rewarding and it's more recognizable and it's everything that I've been missing, right? It's almost like what Terry said. By the way, I felt like I was in therapy when he was on stage.
And now you're on the couch.
And now
This
you're
is
on the
perfect.
couch. So
This
it's
is
perfect.
really
So
well
it kind
done.
of really like, it was perfect that I
Right,
came in second here,
right.
but he touched on a lot, but one of the things he touched on was patterns and breaking those patterns. And I think so many of us get so stuck in the toxicity of our choices. And it takes one moment, one person, one conversation
Mm-hmm.
just to snap you out of it.
But it takes a little bit of courage,
It takes a lot of
I
courage.
think
right?
it's-
Yeah.
I mean, so that's the
JoJo
thing.
has taught me about courage. And
Whew, she's like the queen of courage. That girl is bold.
there's another word for it.
Yeah.
I just haven't figured it out yet.
Mhm.
Oh.
Because the word courage just doesn't.
Doesn't fit.
No,
It's bigger than that.
it's so inspiring, and I think that as the one decision, right, that I made, that courageous decision to make that shift and partner and joined the Austin Benefits team, right?
Right.
Sitting across from Dean and Kathy last year in April.
Oh, so
That-
it's just been a year
It's
for
been a
you.
year, yeah.
High five, girl.
Yay.
Congratulations.
That's
Happy one year,
awesome.
me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, pass it around.
So, having the courage to make that decision, I didn't know at the time what this year was going to look like and how life-changing it was going to be. And your North Star, right, changes as you grow, as you heal, as you become more aware.
Mm-hmm.
And man, the possibilities. This past year has really opened my eyes to what's possible, what kind of change can happen with people like JoJo
Mhm.
that are courageous, people like Terry, people like you, people that are bringing the root cause of what's going on with people to
Mhm.
light, because that's where change happens.
Right. And as much as it's difficult or scary, there's so many words for it, right?
Right.
It's kind of like, okay, well, you have to open the door
Yeah.
and just walk through it. I don't know if I ever said this, but when I first got the idea to do this podcast, I bought an iPad. I was like, I'm just going to do this. And I thought, what was I thinking? I mean, it was crazy. I was so proud of myself. I went and I bought this iPad. I knew we were going to be at Blue Hat Coffee Gallery in Farmington. And I just was like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing this. But thank God that Dave Scott, who was with My Michigan TV, that he actually just called me and he was like, are you still doing that podcast? I'm like, yeah. He's like, what are you doing it on? I'm like, an iPad. He's like, oh yeah, that's not happening. So
We need
so
to upgrade.
yes.
this.
I
So-
love that you equate starting a live stream to
an iPad.
all I need is an iPad. We're ready to go.
Technology, baby.
Yes, see, but that for me was being brave of, you know what? I've got an iPad. Now Liz has the iPad. I've got, the iPad has made its rounds.
Wait, back up.
Right.
Is that the iPad?
that it?
No,
right
that's
there?
actually another brand new iPad.
Okay, because
Upgraded.
I thought
know.
maybe we'd bring it up and
I
put
know,
it
and
on the
put it on
couch.
yeah, it needs to go on the tray. But but if I hadn't
Yeah.
gone to Best Buy and bought that iPad
Yeah.
and thought that I just thought I could do it.
Yes.
And I couldn't have. I mean, it could not have gone through. I mean, we've had a lot of changes
Right.
with the show. I mean, I actually don't even like calling it a podcast anymore because I'm going for the talk show vibe. And I just really, when people say, well, what made you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just had to try it. But
Yeah.
and they're like, well, you didn't have a business plan. You had nothing. If I didn't do it at the moment I was going to do it, I would never have done it.
That's what we seem to realize, right? If you take any spot in that journey and look back to the starting point, if you knew how much of the things it was
Yeah.
going to take to get you to where you were,
Not just
You
an
wouldn't do
iPad.
it.
you would not. You wouldn't have done it.
Absolutely.
You
No,
wouldn't have done
That's
it.
true.
absolutely
Right.
not, right?
Stop overthinking.
That's
right?
right.
Don't overthink it.
So it's funny when in those moments you
Yeah.
can be like, I got this.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I don't have this.
I
What am
don't
I
have this
doing?
at all.
I don't have this at all. I don't even know how to hit the button.
You know what though? I love it. And so he's right. The fear, right? The fear just kind of stops you. And I
Mhm.
think that what I love about what the two of you do is it's conversations, right? It's conversations, but I love the difficult conversations. That took a while to learn,
Mhm.
right? And I think with domestic violence, mental health issues, addiction, right? There's stigmas around all of that. I'm seeing it. I've
Mhm.
seen it with former leaders that I've worked with, former companies that were reluctant to support certain organizations because of the stigma and how
Really?
difficult it is to talk about that, how to talk about it with your team, how to present that you support that, right? And I talked to JoJo about this. What's difficult? The difficult part is really understanding what the root cause of all of the other organizations that you support. We're very heavily involved in Orchard Children's Services. We do backpack drives courtesy of Kathy Austin and her vision for giving back to children in our community, Macomb, Oakland County. There's so many different organizations that we are all involved in.
Right.
But the root cause is some of these issues, right? Catching it early. What if we supported an organization like JoJo's that is supporting a woman that is leaving a very toxic situation, regardless of what you consider toxic,
Right.
right? Leaving a situation like that with no resources, nowhere to go, no family to help her, and enter JoJo and On the Wings of Angels, giving her the dignity and the resources to start over, to rebuild her life. Now she's having sessions with Terry and
Mhm.
doing therapy.
And then she's on the show.
And she's on the show and she's living her best life, and that's trickling down to her children
Mhm.
and raising them in an environment that is healthy and supportive and conducive.
And it's breaking the cycle.
And it's breaking the cycle.
See, and that is kind of the deal, right? I
Yes.
think it's all about breaking the cycle and try and like what you said,
Mhm.
figuring out the root cause.
Yeah.
Because if you just keep putting the Band-Aid on,
Right,
it's not going to fix anything.
right,
It's just going to we're going to keep having these same conversations.
right.
We
Right?
take the easy way out, right?
Yes.
And the quick, effective. We're a flash society,
Mhm. Attention spans.
non-existent. Do we have those anymore? I'm not sure.
I don't know what you say.
What? Huh? I'm not. Why are we here?
Squirrel.
Absolutely.
I love squirrels. Where?
But yeah, you nailed it with the whole root cause system. And a lot of that's tied to our beliefs. And my challenge with our beliefs is, where did we get them? Were they instilled in us by our parents at a young age? Probably. Children, friends, family,
Society,
teachers,
school,
media,
all of it, right?
all
I know.
of it.
Everywhere, every single encounter that I think I've ever had from 0 to now, which I won't say my age.
Yeah. Now. You're now years
You're
old.
now years
I
old.
I'm
love
now
that.
years old.
I'm using that.
Every experience, every encounter, every friendship, every employer, every coworker. I mean, people influence us on a daily, and we get to choose. That's the beauty.
It's the best part.
It's the best part. By the way, I did register for your.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
there you go.
Look at
Did you
that.
do it when you were out there?
I did when
You
he
hear the
was
sound?
talking. I was like,
See?
let's go.
See, Caffeinated Conversations
Yes.
works for you.
It's working well. I love
Yes,
Um,
deeper.
it.
Okay, so we're going to bring Yvonne Cameron, right? Cameron up because she's with CAREhouse of Oakland County.
Love that.
Okay, so you're going to scoot over and the whole
I'm
thing
gonna
about
scoot.
come on over here.
And get my coffee.
So the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention
Come on.
have reported that in
Mike.
homes where violence between partners happens, that there is actually a 45 to 60% chance of co-occurring child abuse. Okay, and that number, that 45 to 60%, that is like 15 times higher than the usual rate, right?
Yes.
So Yvonne Cameron, she's the director of intervention at CAREhouse of Oakland County, which is our featured nonprofit of the month. Because every month we feature a nonprofit because I think it's important to not only give back but also raise awareness. And CAREhouse, for people who don't know, is a children's advocacy center and intervention.
Yes.
Tell me, I have the definition, but tell me what
Yeah.
intervention actually means.
Of course. Well, in the CAREhouse intervention is trying to facilitate putting a stop to abuse of children, and so with that, statistic that you read, we do interview children about report made of child abuse, and at times they disclose domestic violence in the home that we did not know about.
Oh, okay.
There are occasions that domestic violence is the primary allegation, and then new disclosures of abuse have come up with the child being abused or involved. And so we will interview those children as well.
And when you say interview, you're talking about it's a forensic interview and it
Yes.
is in depth.
Yes, yes. So forensic interview is collecting a statement from a child in a developmentally sensitive, truth-seeking manner that's unbiased in nature, and it helps for the criminal justice system and the child welfare system as well.
And for the kids that end up going, because CAREhouse sounds nice,
Yes.
right? But I
Yes.
can imagine it's very scary.
Yes, it can be. So if a child, we want them to come prepared to talk about what it is that maybe has been disclosed about. But when a child comes to CAREhouse, they're greeted at the door with a volunteer, a child assist, who's prepared to see them, and they welcome them into the building. It's very child friendly from the start. We have furniture that fits their size. In every room, we have waiting rooms that
I
are
heard you have snacks. You have
yes,
snacks.
snacks. Yes, that's a big one, and definitely drinks, and then also fidgets and other items are present for them. There even during a forensic interview, we make sure to have different things out on the table for them because as children, they have short attention spans.
Right.
As adults, we have short
Right.
attention spans.
Right.
But we have fidgets, we have Play-Doh, we have sometimes paper and marker out too, so that they
So
can
that's
color.
kind of the authentic way of getting them to actually really talk about what's going on
Mhm.
by giving that. It's not tricking them. It's just making them comfortable,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
So
Yes.
and how, what made you get into this? Have you,
Yeah. So I mean, actually, in college, I was exposed to the Child Advocacy Center in Allegan County,
okay.
and I through their victim witness coordinator position at the prosecutor's office, and so I looked more into that as I was in my master's program for social work, and found that we had Oakland County Child Advocacy Center called CAREhouse.
Okay.
And so almost right after my graduation, I've been there for almost 20 years.
Have you really?
Yes, I have.
You don't look old enough to
Yes.
be there for 20
Right.
years.
I've been
She
told.
she
Yes.
left her
She-
interview and then just started
Just-
working
yes.
the next day.
I know. I know.
that is phenomenal. So
Yes.
how have you seen with the justice system and all the changes in society, have you seen it change there? I mean, for the kids that come in, and I know
Yes.
situations change, and
Mhm.
but for you personally, have you seen an improvement, or is it gone?
With
Statistics? I don't
yeah,
even know
good
if I'm asking you
question.
the right
Yeah,
question, but
yeah,
I can
sure.
see it in my head.
Sure. Well, I think the most critical part is that we want to make sure that the kids get to us, right? So making sure that we do have a protocol in Oakland County that the reports of child abuse that get reported to law enforcement and Child Protective Services when there are allegations involving child sexual abuse or criminal level physical abuse, that those children get interviewed at CAREhouse, because if they don't, then they might be interviewed multiple times about what could be a very traumatic situation. And so they might talk with law enforcement, CPS, a prosecutor. Sometimes it all starts in a school where a school might have a school social worker talk to them, maybe the principal as well. And so what CAREhouse does is bring the whole team together to work
For one time.
work together on the child abuse investigation and do one interview. And that interview can encompass all of the information that is needed for all members of the team to move forward.
Oh, that's
That's
great.
Yeah,
incredible.
That's really
Very
cool.
intentional, very thoughtful.
And
I-
very kind and
yes.
compassionate, right? Because
Yeah.
children don't need to keep reliving
Mhm.
that same whatever pile that they went through.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, I
Yes.
love that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's all video recorded as well.
So what about if the abuse is against a parent or a family member? How do you keep the kid, I guess, from not getting, I don't want to say bullied, but
Sure.
if you know that interview is going to happen, and then how do you protect the kid in the meantime?
Sure, sure. Well, so that would be when we rely on Child Protective Services so Child Protective Services would play the role of, putting in safety plans and making sure that there is a safety plan arranged so that a child would not have continued contact with the alleged offender until the investigation is complete.
And then you mentioned schools, they're mandated reporters, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if a child is in a school and a social worker or a teacher suspects something may be going on, then they make the call.
Yes, yes. So that could be how an initial report is generated through a mandated reporter who files what they call a 3200 reports to Child Protective Services. And then from there, law enforcement may get notified if it's a criminal level matter. And then, so for all child sexual abuse or severe physical abuse, then the investigator will call CAREhouse of Oakland County to arrange for the forensic interview of the child.
What if like a regular person happens to suspect that a child is being abused in some way? Can a person, like just anyone, not a mandated reporter, call?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So anyone can call to report suspected child abuse to Child Protective Services, and it would still be able to get looked into if it, gets through their intake process. And then also anyone can also call law enforcement and let them know about concerns of child abuse.
Really?
Hmm.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, with 20 years experience, what is the one thing you would want people to know about these children that come through CareHouse?
Oh, the one thing. I think the one thing I would want people to know is that whatever they may have gone through does not define who they are. Um, and I guess in short form, I would say that a lot of the children we interview about such difficult topics, they talk to us and they're very resilient still, and they'll talk about it without tears, and sometimes they'll work through it. And the conversation that we have, it's being a forensic interviewer, you are trained in how to have this conversation with the kids where you can go in and out of maybe comfortable topics, and also back to in case they get uncomfortable, you can go back to maybe the original topic they came and talked about, playing football or soccer, and then you could go back into the topic as needed. So you make sure to be trauma informed with your approach. But those children are often just telling us about what happened in a matter of fact way. And so with that being said, it's really our advocates in the meantime are working with the caregivers who brought the children in and helping them understand how to best support the child moving forward. And so, we want to capture onto that resiliency that we already see in kids,
Right.
and then keep them safe moving forward. And then if we can do that, and we help parents through that process as well, surrounding them with resources like therapy or even community resources as needed. There could be
Yes.
domestic violence, and we might want to make sure to connect them with the right resources, and then we can help the whole family cope and move forward.
So if somebody needed those resources, can they reach out to you?
Yes, they
Okay.
can.
Okay.
Yes.
So how would they do that?
So they can reach out to CareHouse through our main line. I know to reach a victim advocate directly, you
Mhm.
can dial 248-333-0999.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course.
I just thought that it was the perfect tie-in with, because domestic violence and abuse, children abuse, and all, it trickles down like we were talking about earlier, right?
I
Sounds
love
like
it.
great resource
Yes.
partners in
Yeah.
the community. Really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
That's
think
so
so.
important. Takes a
And,
village.
I was telling her too that in all my years of the media, I had never really heard of CareHouse,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is interesting because they do so much behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And to not really know what they were, it's been interesting for me.
Yes,
So
yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
so
for bringing
much.
us in.
Yes, and so
Yes.
now you know Natalie,
I
now you know
Yes,
Terry,
Very.
and then okay, so my next guest, okay, so this is Ralph. He's going to come up and he's going to sit.
Scoochies.
You're going to scoot
Slide,
down.
slide.
So the funny thing about Ralph is that he was actually on the very first show at Blue Hat Coffee Gallery. Don't show it yet.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
There goes the
I was like,
reveal,
"That's a
Ralph.
great review, man." So
It's a tray.
So when he almost witnessed the iPad nightmare that could have ensued, but it did not, thankfully. But Ralph makes these trays that are amazing, and I don't know if any of you have ever waited on tables, but I waited on
Yes.
tables for years, and there were many a moons over my hammy spilled on people's heads because I did not have this fabulous tray. But I met Ralph when I was still anchoring at WWJ, and okay, I'm embarrassed. This is filthy. It's got coffee spots on it, but
Well, at least you use it.
I do use it. But this was the very first
Aw.
tray that Ralph made me. It did not have any coffee stains on it back then. Because I call the twins, ever since I found out I was pregnant with twins, I called them my Twinkies. And so he made this tray for me.
Mhm.
So fast forward, he had presented me on that first show with a beautiful tray with caffeinated conversations on it. And then that tray was gone. And then he gave me another one at our holiday extravaganza in December, and that tray's gone too.
I said, did you get it misplaced? Is that what happened?
Well, it's very funny because I almost think somebody took it, but it has my name on it. So I'm like, why are you taking my trays, man?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, okay,
Heck of a
now you
keepsake.
can review the tray. Isn't it pretty?
Yay.
Like, imagine. Thank you so much.
Yay.
You're welcome.
Seriously.
That's stunning. Can you put some coffee stains on that real quick?
I was
Let
gonna
me
say,
help you with that.
there we go.
So Ralph, CJ's Trays, this is your company. And
Yes.
these trays are amazing because I told the twins, the Twinkies, that their first job will be waiting on tables because I think you learn so much about people. And they're of course saying they're not going to do that, but they will do that.
Mhm.
But think of it. It's so amazing because I would never spill another Moons Over Miami on anyone else again.
That's true.
And how come you started designing these?
It started when I was in a restaurant, and the girl was holding her tray, and she was holding the drinks at the same
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
I said, "Why are you doing that?" She goes, "Well, my manager wants me to look like it's more of a family atmosphere instead of a sports bar." And she goes, "If I could just hold on to this thing." And that's when I thought, well, I wonder how it would be if you had a handle on the bottom of that. So the more I investigated it, I looked into it, and some of them were kind of outdated. They had straps or something like a Velcro,
Oh, that's
and it
cute.
would just stay on your hand. So I went to a couple places, and I bought a tray, and I went to Home Depot, and I got a handle. I was sticking on my hands, and I go, oh, that looks like a good one. And a friend of mine is a cabinet maker. So I went to a shop and I said, hey, let's check this out. And he's like, I've had a lot of people come in here because of him being a cabinet maker
Right.
with ideas. He goes, this thing's really this is a great idea. And so that's when I had a designer, digitize it
Mhm.
and had it, I had math data built for it and had a tool made for it. And, it's kind of like what Terry was saying, I related to a lot of that I was out of my comfort zone. And I thought, how am I going to do this? And then once I started to do it, and then it kind of got overwhelming. And then it was everything. I had to do so much more investigating and I have a patent pending right now. And to get through all of that process and then get through the insurance process and to get to the tool building process. That
Did you
was
have an iPad though?
no, I didn't.
Probably would have made the whole thing
I had
smoother.
a piece
You
of
just
paper
knocked
and a
it
pencil.
right out,
I mean, I
Ralph.
was really out of it. But yeah, so it was going very, very well before COVID hit, and obviously it's a restaurant item.
But
And
it's not just a restaurant item though, because
No, it's not. It's turned
mean,
into different
yes,
uses.
People give these as gifts for weddings.
Absolutely.
And, I've seen a Detroit Lions one. I've seen a Detroit Tigers.
I just made some new Tigers
Oh,
ones.
did you? Okay.
I had an opportunity to get into Ford Field with one. I got with the director. He was more of like an assistant director. And I had my presentation made and everything. And it was like March 15th. I went in there and that's when everything just shut down. So I'm trying to get back out there. I have been, my online sales are a lot better right now. It's getting out there, but to get into Ford Field and to get into Levy has 80% of all the concessions and bar things and outside people coming in. And if I could get into just one of them to get to that decision maker that says, yes, we want to use these in Ford Field, else, Little Caesars. We want to use them in America because Levy handles all of those concessions. So if I could get to the decision maker of those,
Mhm.
and that's the tough part. I was in there, but I just found a card of one of the guys that I was contacting there, and obviously he doesn't work there anymore.
Mm.
And so somebody
Did you
actually
try
answered
LinkedIn? Because LinkedIn is good.
I do have CJ Strays on LinkedIn right now.
Nice.
But I finally got through to somebody, and this was just recently.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get back out there. Yeah, it's COVID really kind of took the wind out of my sails.
Okay. Well, we're here with my fourth tray. I'll use it everywhere.
It's multi-purpose. It's
Here,
wonderful.
In fact, give Natalie back her.
Let's
give
do
Natalie
the
back her
coffee
coffee
swap
back,
again.
but
Look
don't
at
spill it
how
on the couch
wonderful
because
it
then I'll
is.
take the couch home with me.
Yes.
You'll be like, hey, a new couch.
And it's a shield and an
Yeah,
umbrella.
see?
I mean, it
It's-
could work for
Well,
so many
I
different
will tell you
things.
that the kids do use that as a shield sometimes.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of
There
people
is
say
that.
that. Well, you should have that Velcro with the ball. Remember those things?
Oh, that
Makes
was
for a
an
heck of a
Easter
game.
basket.
I'm
right.
like, no, that's
Yes.
not what it is. You know?
Slow in the restaurant. Let's get the shields out.
Exactly. So okay, so how because you do personalized ones,
Yes.
and how do people? I mean, it's just the website, right? And can they order it directly from there? Or
They can order it right through my website.
Okay.
It's servertray.com. Real simple, real easy.
Mhm.
I encourage people to go on to servertray.com and view the video, and it gives them an idea of how it works. Everything's made in the United States. My materials. I have an injection mold shop that I use in small little shop in Port Huron. They're great. I can call them anytime, and he's actually going out of business, and I need to
Oh,
find
wow.
somewhere to keep my tool.
Oh, how big is it?
It's a pretty big tool. I'd say it's
Be like,
a,
hey Dean, do you have a
You have space.
do you have a space
Yeah.
for
um,
behind the couch maybe?
but it's real heavy, obviously. But yeah, all my materials are, like I said, I get everything here, and my injection molding shops in Port Huron. I get my materials from a company in Shelby Township, and my girl who makes my logos, she lives really close to me. Very creative. I mean, they'll send me ideas, and like Brooke, I said, well, what do you think of this? She's like, great. So once she does it,
I don't feel like I can actually say like, oh yeah, do it again. I don't. This is the fifth tray. Do it again. Do it again, man.
I'm like, do you want me to put season 2.5 on here? Or,
Yeah.
2.5. I don't even.
I was thinking of putting a GPS tracking thing in it to
AirTag.
see where it goes.
There we go.
Right.
Right.
Carve
That's
out a little
actually what
spot
you
for the
need.
I don't-
AirTag.
Yeah,
Right.
it was really cool when she first got a hold of me. She had seen it,
Mhm.
and you did a Made in Michigan segment.
Mhm, yeah, for Jay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was really exciting to me and everything. And I got a lot of people that were, hey, I heard you on the radio. I heard you on the radio. Wow, that's really cool. But that was a good start for me, and I really appreciate that as well.
Well, no, it was my pleasure. And then, yeah, so I used to do the Made in Michigan feature there. Of course, here we call it the Great Lakes Made. We have to put a spin on it.
Nice.
Yes.
But it was very cool because he had called me directly. And so I was able to, to do the interview and then get the first of many trays.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I'm like,
Okay.
she's my best customer.
He's like, she's the
Just
best
keep
customer
losing
that
them.
doesn't pay.
Just keep losing them.
I have a lot of. I just did a customer in Harrison Township, and he's got a lot of young servers.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine went in there and said, "Hey, I got a buddy that makes these, blah blah blah." The guy called me right away,
Awesome.
and he just got 10 of them off me the other day, and they cater. So
That's-
now
oh, that's
they're
very
using
cool.
them for catering and
So
advertising.
The
so
logo will be on there,
oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's what's so
yeah,
cool
his
about
logo's
Very
on
cool.
there, and it depends on what your decor is. Like some of them, let's say, like Buffalo Wild Wings are orange and yellow, or black and yellow.
Oh, I thought you were going to say black and red.
Yeah, right. You'd fit
But-
in perfectly.
I know, right?
Yeah, his were that color as well. And I take their logo and send it to my designer, and she does it perfect. I mean, this was what you sent me.
Yeah, and look, it
and
matches.
it matches pretty much. And I was looking at it. The only thing it doesn't match is the little bubbles around it.
It's okay. I'll let it pass this time because I'm sure there's another tray in my future.
For number 6, can you get it right, please? That would be great. Listen, you're all getting patted down before you leave here, so no sneaking out.
Yeah,
with
no
a
sneaking
Brooks
out
Food
with my tray, please. Oh
My
gosh.
bag is big enough.
Exactly. Okay, so I always ask this. I'm going to ask you a quick question, Ralph, and you need to answer in one word. No, wait, actually, no, never mind. Okay, if you had a chance to have coffee with your younger self, what would you tell him?
Don't be afraid to do changes. I mean, Terry, you're very inspirational. I mean,
Thank you.
what you were saying earlier, it was just like, wow, he was spot on with everything that I did. I mean, I took the chance. I went through it. I went for it, and it just, I came around. I was spiraling, and how am I going to do this, and how am I going to do that? And it just, everything takes time. I mean, I started this in 2018, and then when COVID hit, then it took me a couple years to get back, but just don't hold back. Don't be afraid to do things. And you were spot on. I mean, that would really that was spot on
You're very kind.
with my story.
Thank you.
Very
Awesome.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Yvonne, how about you? What would you say to your younger self
Yes.
if you met her for coffee?
So I would say that you're on the right track and enjoy it and don't sweat the small stuff.
Exactly.
Perfect. Thank you.
I
Natalie,
agree.
you're next.
Oh, I love this question. I would tell my younger self to enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. It's not about the end game. It's about the doing. Trusting that voice, that instinct. Terry and I talked about this last week. Just trusting that and trusting the journey and enjoying it. That's what it's about.
Being present, right?
Being very present, very self-aware, trusting all of that.
Okay.
And I think it's the gut feeling too that Terry said. I had a really good gut feeling on this, and I knew it was going to be successful. It just doing that.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
Okay, Terry Bean, we've got 40 seconds left. Tell me.
Yeah. I had a license plate for years and it said now our, but it meant know who you are. And once we do that work to figure that out, we'll instantly know what to do and we'll be able to show up purposefully, powerfully, consistently, in a most compassionate way that'll resonate with the people that are meant to work with us, be served by us, be a part of us. So do the work to know who you are.
Okay, thank
Love
you.
that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, all of you, so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And like I always say, we'll see you next week. But in the meantime, keep the coffee hot. See you later. Bye. See ya.